everyone, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. It's been a few weeks since I posted a video, which wasn't my intention, but it relates directly to what I have to share with you today, which if you follow me on Instagram or Facebook, you will already be in the loop. So I am pregnant and I am so overjoyed and excited about the journey to becoming a mother. In this video, I want to share with you a bit about our journey to conceiving and my experience during my first trimester so far. If you missed my last video, I shared an update on life and why I'd been away from YouTube and social media, as well as an introduction to my practice as a mind and body coach. I had just found out that I was pregnant when I filmed that video, and soon afterwards I was hit with really bad morning sickness, which lasts all day, every day. And it's made it very challenging, but more on that soon. If you missed that last video, I would love for you to check it out. And it is my intention to share a video on here every Friday from now. So now that my pregnancy news is public, I will be planning to create a video every week, even if I don't feel so great, as I'd like to share behind the scenes of my pregnancy journey, including the challenges and the hard parts. My videos will be mostly vlog style, and I will share about all aspects of my work as a coach in ways that I hope will provide you guys with value and insight to live a healthy and fulfilling life in mind, body, and spirit. I want to share in depth on my pregnancy journey and to provide information, resources, and guidance for women on this very special journey in this very special phase of life. I will also be sharing more about my own journey to arriving where I am today, from lawyer to hardcore bodybuilder to being a holistic coach and psychology practitioner who has found balance and harmony for herself, mentally, physically, emotionally, and hormonally. From being someone incredibly focused on the way her body looks and creating the perfect body at whatever cost, to someone much more focused on my relationship with my body, with myself, how I treat my body, and how healthy I really am on the inside. This is a transition that was so important for me to be able to be where I am today, pregnant and growing my first little human. I'm going to share more about my pregnancy journey now, and I did put a question box up on Instagram this week, so a lot of what I'm sharing is related to questions that you guys have asked about whether we were trying to conceive, how I found out I was pregnant and how I felt when I found out, and how I feel about becoming a mum. If you do have any questions that you'd like me to answer, please feel free to leave them in the comment box below or send me an email, which you'll find down below as well. So, deciding to try for a baby. If you've been following me on Instagram or watched my last video, you'll be aware that I lost my dad in an accident in January. And losing dad was really such a harsh reminder of how precious life is. Before losing dad, Simon and I had been talking about maybe starting to try for a baby at the end of this year or early next year. And it was really external factors that made us feel like we should wait. For one, I had just invested a huge amount in my new website, my new coaching app, and I just relaunched my coaching practice after spending years back at university studying psychology. And for two, we are not living in our own place at the moment. But after losing dad, it was really just a wake-up call about what is important in life, and we decided that we should start trying, even though we're not in the perfect situation, because life is so precious and passes by so quickly, and also you really never know how long it will take you to fall pregnant. I know that for some women or some couples, they spend years trying to get pregnant, and my body has been through a lot over the years, from spending 5 years pushing it to physical extremes as a professional bodybuilder, and even before I started competing, I struggled with disordered eating and I used to exercise excessively. So I really appreciated that falling pregnant may not happen quickly, although I have spent the last 3.5 years since I retired from competing really working hard to make sure that my body is as healthy and as balanced as possible, because having babies has always been a dream of mine. So I fell pregnant really quickly, not first try, but within 3 cycles of trying, I got those 2 lines, which makes me so grateful for my body and my health. I was asked how I knew when I was ready to be a parent, and honestly, I don't know if you could ever really know. Being a parent is a huge life change, and obviously I haven't actually experienced that yet, but I feel ready for that change. And as though the person that I am today is someone who is ready to adapt to the changes and challenges that come with parenthood. I always wanted to become a mum. It's been such a goal of mine for so long that really feels like it is part of my purpose to bring life into this world. I found out that I was pregnant 2 weeks after my 34th birthday, which isn't exactly young to be becoming a parent for the first time. And growing up, I had this idea that I wanted to be a parent before the age of 30, but I'm grateful that I'm only beginning this journey now, because I've had so much valuable life experience and I've been through so much personal growth that I just think to myself that I am so glad that I am beginning this journey as the version of me that I am today, having gone through all of the experiences that I have gone through. I am more ready than ever, and of course, I have now found the right man to share this journey with. I feel excited for the changes, but also, of course, I feel nervous, especially about growing this human and birthing this human into the world. But I know that my body was made for this, and so I am trusting the process and trusting that all will unfold as it should. I've been asked about finding out that I was pregnant and whether I knew before I tested, and I have actually shared part of the story on Instagram. But I found out that I was pregnant on June the 14th, which was exactly a month after my birthday and 2 days before Simon's birthday. And it was pretty special because Simon was working away in Christchurch and he was coming home or due home on his birthday. And he had made me promise that if I found out I was pregnant while he was away, I would wait and tell him in person. So I had to keep it quiet for 2 days and I was able to surprise him on his birthday. Before I did the test, I did have an inkling that I was pregnant because that cycle I had just started using a microscope to test my estrogen levels around my ovulation window. So this little microscope allows you to test your saliva and you'll see a firning pattern when your estrogen levels are elevated. I will share more in another video about this method of monitoring your estrogen levels. Working with clients to achieve healthy hormones is such a huge focus of the work that I do now as a coach, and I am really passionate about women understanding their health to this depth. So I do highly recommend this microscope testing if you are curious about your hormone health and levels, and especially if you are trying to conceive. So basically you use this little microscope to test your estrogen levels around your ovulation window. And typically your estrogen levels will drop off after your ovulation. But if you have fallen pregnant, then your estrogen levels can start rising, or do start rising again soon after your ovulation. So I'd had a couple of days where my estrogen levels had dropped off and I wasn't seeing any firning suggesting high estrogen on my little microscope. But then I started seeing firning patterns that signified high estrogen levels every day consistently for a few days. So I knew that I was either pregnant or that I had something going on with my estrogen levels that shouldn't be happening. So I was hoping, of course, for the former, and that was the case. I was pregnant. The day that I decided to do the pregnancy test was special in so many ways. Losing Dad was a big influence in our decision to start trying sooner than we'd originally planned. And that day that I did the test, I was driving home from the gym and thinking, oh, should I do the test today? I knew that my estrogen levels were high and that could have meant I was pregnant. And as I was driving home, I got a phone call and it was a woman asking how she could get hold of my dad. And so I had to explain to her that Dad had been killed in a flying accident 5 months ago. And when I put down my phone, I looked up and there was the most brilliant rainbow, like the whole way across the sky. And I've been seeing so many rainbows since we lost Dad, and every time I see a rainbow, it's always such perfect timing that it just feels like a message from him. So I went straight home and I did the test and it was positive. I couldn't believe it. Well, I could believe it, but I was definitely in shock. I was laughing and crying, and I literally couldn't wipe this huge smile off my face. So I did a few more tests to be sure, and I went out to the kitchen to make myself a cup of tea so that I could sit and digest the fact that I was going to be a mum. And I looked out the kitchen window and there was another rainbow, a smile from Dad. So it was such a special day that honestly just felt like quite magic and like fancy of all of the days. That day that I was thinking about doing a pregnancy test, on my way home, someone phoned me asking how they could get hold of my dad. It was just all too perfect, that and the rainbows. Being pregnant right now after such a tough year, losing Dad really does feel like a rainbow in our lives. It's the ultimate polarity of loss and sadness that I still struggle with every single day, accepting that Dad is gone, and at the same time this immense joy and gratitude that I'm now creating life. So being pregnant is a whole new journey for me. As a coach, I have worked with many women, guiding them with the tools to eat well and to exercise safely through pregnancy and postpartum. But of course, this is the first time for me actually in the trenches, living this experience for myself. So far it's been amazing, but it's also been extremely challenging. And I can honestly say that I commend every single mum that's been on this journey. I want to share the journey that I'm on with you guys, and I hope that I can offer valuable support and understanding for other mums who are going through the same journey or will go through this journey in the future. I will be working with more and more women on their pregnancy and postpartum journey in my coaching practice, which I know is so needed, as I know that midwives and doctors are stretched so thin and they're not able to provide the deeper level of support that women need when it comes to taking care of themselves the best they can, both physically, mentally and emotionally during pregnancy. So my first trimester so far. My first couple of weeks since finding out I was pregnant, so weeks 4 and 5, I was a little bit tired and I definitely had some specific food cravings and things I didn't feel like eating. I was slightly nauseous, but it was absolutely nothing compared to the nausea that hit me in week 6. So I was 9 weeks on Wednesday just been, and from week 6 until week 9, to be continued, I've had very consistent and chronic nausea, sometimes with vomiting, thankfully not every day. I've been really exhausted and usually going to bed about 8 o'clock, and sometimes even needing to take a nap during the day, which is completely unheard of for me before pregnancy. I've had really bad headaches during my first trimester, particularly week 6 up until now, and a bit of an overshare, but I've also had quite bad constipation, which is really common throughout pregnancy, and it's due to the dramatic increase in the hormone progesterone, which basically slows right down your digestion. So mamas, you're not alone. I'm grateful that I have the knowledge around what is going on in my body, and I understand that all of these symptoms that I've been feeling for the last 3 weeks are due to hormone changes. So there's progesterone, which I've mentioned in relation to digestion, as well as estrogen, and HCG, which is commonly known as the pregnancy hormone, and which is doubling every 3 to 4 days in early pregnancy. The science around morning sickness is disputed, but it's generally accepted that the dramatic increase in HCG is a contributor. We know that HCG affects your sense of smell, which can contribute to nausea, and that HCG is also important in suppressing immune system so that your body will accept the fetus and allow it to grow inside you. By the end of the first trimester, HCG is no longer increasing so rapidly, and this is when morning sickness often lessens, for the lucky mamas at least. Getting through these tough weeks, I keep reminding myself that all of these symptoms I'm experiencing are signs that my body, particularly my hormones, are doing what they're meant to do. And those that have high levels of nausea are a much lower risk of having a miscarriage, and it is generally a sign of a healthy baby growing inside you. So I've been really using that understanding to help me get through on the tough days. I have had questions around what I'm doing to manage my nausea. I have been drinking lemon and ginger tea, drinking lemonade, eating ice blocks, and eating really bland food overall. First thing in the morning, I can only eat plain toast, and sometimes I actually have to munch on some plain crackers in bed before I even get up. I'm pretty limited overall in the foods that I'm able to eat, literally whatever I can stomach, often a lot of plain toast. So I've been buying a grainy bread that is high in protein, because protein is one thing I've really been struggling to get in like I used to. I'm eating regularly and I'm eating small meals because I find that I feel even more sick as soon as I start to feel hungry. And I've honestly been so hungry, like the hungriest I've ever been in my life the last few weeks. I feel like I'm literally eating consistently all day. I have started wearing these C-bands, which are acupressure to help with nausea. They can also be used for motion sickness, and I do feel like these have helped slightly to take the edge off my nausea the last couple of days, and they are not expensive, so I think definitely worth giving a go if you are struggling with morning sickness. The single most helpful thing that I've been doing so far to help me manage my nausea is breath work. I've been really mindful to breathe deep and slow, and particularly when I feel a wave of nausea come over me, just pausing and taking 5 really slow, deep breaths really helps me. I find that breathing in and out my mouth is the most effective when I'm using this breath work to manage my nausea. So I have 3 weeks to go in my first trimester, and I am praying that the second trimester brings with it much less nausea and much more energy, which so many mums have told me that I can look forward to. All in all, this first trimester has been very tough, but I've been using it as an opportunity to literally just surrender to what my body is asking for, to slow down, to rest a lot, and to be kind to myself and just take this process one day at a time. So my primary health care throughout my pregnancy will be my midwife. I know that this isn't common practice everywhere in the world, but it is common here in New Zealand. I visited the doctor when I found out that I was pregnant, and she did blood tests to confirm. She also recommended that I find a midwife ASAP, because they are in really high demand here in New Zealand. Basically, there is an extreme shortage of midwives. I was grateful to receive a really high recommendation for a midwife from my friend at the gym who had just had a baby, and her midwife Tracy had 1 spot available for my birth month, which is February, so it felt like it was meant to be. I had my first midwife appointment around 5 weeks, which was working through a lot of paperwork, talking about my health history, my blood tests, doing my blood pressure, my weight, all of those sorts of things. And I will see the midwife every month to begin with, then it will increase to fortnightly and then weekly as we get closer. And she will also do home visits for 6 weeks after Bubs arrives. I did have a dating scan when I was 7 weeks, which confirmed our due date of the 22nd of February, and our little human literally just looked like a tiny little jelly bean at that stage, but they did measure the heartbeat, which was 147 beats per minute, so that was very special. I will have my next ultrasound scan at 13 weeks, and we are also going to do some relatively new blood testing called NIP testing at 10 weeks. So they take a sample of my blood, and by that stage, the DNA from the placenta will be circulating in my blood, which enables them to test for chromosomal abnormalities as well as testing for gender. We like the idea of doing the chromosome test just to be safe, and also we are super eager to find out whether we're having a boy or a girl, so doing the NIP testing is the earliest way that you can find out the gender. So I will get those bloods done at the end of next week, and then within 7 to 10 days my midwife will get the results back and we will know whether we're having a boy or a girl. And of course we will share that with you guys when the time is right. I'm going to wrap this video up now, but I will go into more detail in my next video about exercise during pregnancy, which is something that I will keep sharing about as I go. I will also share more about nutrition during pregnancy and about mindset in relation to my body changing, which I think is a really important thing for me to share. I hope you've enjoyed this insight into my pregnancy journey so far, and I want to say once again thank you so much to everyone who has reached out to congratulate us. We are so grateful for this blessing and for all of the love that we've been receiving from all around us. I feel like this journey to becoming a mother is really the next step in my journey. I've been on an incredible journey of personal growth that has allowed me to make peace with my body and start to really take care of it so that I could be ready for this journey. As a coach, I am so passionate about guiding women to have all of the knowledge that I didn't have about how to actually take care of your body inside and out whilst achieving results. Because before I had so much knowledge and experience, I truly believed that I had to kill myself with exercise and starve myself in order to see the results I wanted to see. But I now know that not only is that not the most effective way to achieve results that you can sustain, but it is incredibly detrimental to your health, both physical and mental, to be stuck in a cycle of over-exercising and under-eating, which I did for literally years. I'm grateful for the path that I have walked and for all of the challenges that I've faced along the way, because I'm in a position now with so much experience to help others create a better relationship with themselves and their bodies, and to find balance and prioritize health as well as results. And I'm really excited about the impact that I can have on others after all of my experience. I hope that you've enjoyed this video. Please leave any comments below if you'd like me to answer something in my next video, or you'd like me to talk about a particular topic, and turn on notifications so that you can tune in each week on this journey. Sending you all lots of love.